International Affairs editor Annette Young is covering the story for us here in the newsroom, and she joins me now. Now, Annette, the French presidential palace, they've, of course, so far provided no details about this hostage release. But what then now do we know?
Well, this is a problem because obviously the details are very limited as to what led to the release of these four men. Of course, they were taken in two separate incidences in June last year. In terms of paying ransom, obviously there's a lot of speculation about that, but the French government have always made it very clear that they do not, publicly on record, pay money in order to seek the release of hostages. For instance, last October, when four men were released after 3 years of being held hostage in Niger, there was a lot of speculation that the French government had paid al-Qaeda-linked groups somewhere in the order of up to 25 million euros, but we certainly didn't hear that confirmation from any French official. Their public statement is, we never do. Some would argue some money must have been exchanged. But it just, again, the whole thing just yet again reminds us just how dangerous Syria is for journalists. More than 60 journalists have been killed since the conflict began after the death of noted journalist Marie Colvin in February 2012. A lot of Western media organisations pulled out their correspondence from the region, declaring it was far too dangerous, and as a result they've been relying a lot on freelancers who are often armed with little more than just a mobile phone and literally a notebook and perhaps a camera, and that's it. And they have become targets, and we know that at least 4/5 of reporters operating in that country are certainly freelancers.
Well, it's definitely, as you say, is considered one of the most dangerous places to work. Now, let's talk a bit then about these groups that are carrying out these kidnappings. Turkish media is reporting that it's the Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant. That has not been confirmed. But what do we know about this group that is acting in the country? Well,
this is the problem. We've had no confirmation that ISIS was indeed responsible for taking these four men. But just to give a bit of backstory, I mean, ISIS moved into Syria in early 2012 from Iraq. The intention was with al-Qaeda that they basically would set up a strong presence in what had become a truly chaotic part of the world. As a result, it does still have a strong presence in the mid and northern parts of the countries. It's actually instituted Sharia law in a number of towns. However, what has happened this year is that there's been a big falling out between ISIS and other rebel Islamist groups, not to mention also the Free Syrian Opposition, which of course was one of the primary original groups, and they have launched counterattacks on ISIS strongholds in the north of Syria. This shows you again how chaotic it is, and as a result of anything, what's happening is that President Bashar al-Assad is using the chaos to basically regain territory because there's been so much infighting within these rebel groups. As a result, it's probably not surprising that amidst all this chaos, there was clearly an opportunity for these men to be released. But again, we have to stress, we don't know, Molly, what the details are that led to their release, and no doubt when they get back to Paris, we'll get more of an idea.
Annette, that's exactly right. They are expected to arrive here in France either later this evening or in the early hours on Sunday. Annette Young, thank you very much for that analysis.